built ourselves a network here, but now I want to actually send you some data. So what we're going to look at is, how do I send data from my machine across the network to Stefan? And now, this data is understood by Internet Explorer. Very happy with it. And if I pass it to Stefan, and Stefan puts it to the web server, and the web server, they are very happy with the data. The web server knows what to do with the CD, and in fact, so does Internet Explorer. It makes sense. But when we send things on the network, we have to actually hide them so that the network understands. So if I want to send this as it stands, there is no MAC address on it, so it will never go there. There is no IP address, so it will never go there. And there is no port number. So the first thing we need to do is, if I get this data and I'm going to send it from Internet Explorer, I have to send it down to this TCP software, and that software will put a wrapper around it. So here we are. I've now put a wrapper around it, and this now becomes, this one here, becomes a TCP segment. Now a segment is just the word for a TCP message, it's nothing bigger. And at that point, I actually can put on it that I want this to go to port 2000. So I've actually got a port 2000, and actually I can have a port 80. So I've got a destination and a source. So the destination is port 2000 and the source is port 80. Now this packet or segment then gets put from TCP. It will send it down to this other bit of software here called the IP layer. And the IP layer does a very similar thing. It gets it and it says, I don't know about ports, but I do know about IP addresses. So it puts it into another stage. It wraps round, so you notice it's getting bigger all the time. So it wraps around, and now this is an IP packet. So we had a TCP segment, an IP packet, and the IP packet will have, what would you imagine it might have written on it? Exactly. It's actually got the IP addresses, so it has an IP source and an IP destination. Now, again, the net layer down here knows nothing of that, so it will not be able to send it. In the same way we couldn't send a CD across the network, so it will be sent down to the Ethernet layer. So we're now going to send it now. And now, again, it will be put into a larger message, and this message is the Ethernet frame. And would you like to guess what on the outside we would have on the Ethernet frame? Yeah, but this time, would we have the source IP address? Or would we have... Exactly. So what we've done now, so we've got a source MAC address and a destination MAC address. And now we've done that, we've run it through the bits of software, we get to the NIC card, and now comes the important bit of networking. This is the serious bit of networking. I will now send this, ready, over to Stefan's computer. Whoa! So, Stefan, the NIC card gets the Ethernet frame, and the Ethernet software looks at it. And it will look at the source and destination and say, yes, it's for me. At which point, it will send up to the next layer, which is the IP layer, and it will say, success, and so it will send it further up again to the TCP layer, and it will check if it understands the port number, and it will find there is a program attached to the port number, so it will again strip away all that extra data, and magically Stefan and Phil have managed to send data across their network. Stefan. Thank you, Stefan. Now, if Stefan wanted to send some information back, can you walk through what you think might happen? Yeah. So, Stefan's web server says, okay, I need to send something to port 80 from my port 2000, and so it will change the port numbers on it, send it to the TCP. TCP will send it to IP layer. The IP layer will put more data around it, and this time it will include an IP source and destination. But they will be different, they will be swapped from the previous time. Excellent, Stefan. And then the IP layer will send it to the Ethernet layer, and then, having got the MAC addresses right, magically the network will take it. Now, let's just consider a little bit of a change now. Let's supposing we don't have a network cable. So we've taken our network cable away, and instead of that, we're going to have a wireless link. So I'd like Stefan and I, we've still got some of our settings, and I've got a pen as well. So we're going to go for, I haven't got blue, so we'll go for green. Green is good for us. Is that vert? Vert? Vert pen. Excellent. And so now, whereas when we had a wire, we had these settings down here, we're now going to have a different set of settings. And those settings grouped together are called 802.11. And there's actually several radios, but we're going to use 802.11b. And then we just then need to say what channel. So we're going to go channel, and just like we had to get the speeds right before, we will have to say channel, and I'm going to say channel 6. So exactly, that's under to our capture saying cease, you see, multilingual Stefan and Phil. So we've got channel, and now there's one other setting that we need to know, and that's called what's called an ESSID, which is just like which radio network. It's the same as if Stefan and I were doing Vodafone or O2. It's no different, it's that sort of label. So I'm going to do ESSID, and we'll call it Fred. F-R-E-D, Fred. So, if we now take away the settings we had before, Stefan and I, and now this is going to involve Stefan and I being very, very clever. Right, we'll put these down, the settings, and what we're going to do is we're going to just slide, if we can, without knocking the others, the bottom box around a little. Now this is like, it's like Stefan and I, we're now in some sort of competition. It feels like a party competition. And what we're going to do now we're going to, oh, you've done the right idea, and then put it back in, and this time we're going to call it a radio card. Now, so Stefan and I, we've set our radio cards up in a similar way that we set our network cards up. And guess what? I can now send Ethernet packets, and Stefan can send Ethernet packets across the radio, and we've still got a network. Fantastic. Now what we're going to do, and again, this is we're going to use another set of settings, and this time Stefan and I, our computers have gone further away, and so we're going to use what's called GPRS. So this time we will use GPRS, and we will have